Christopher Media, the Weedsman Podcast.
All right, man. It's time.
It's time. Are we ready for the list?
The list.
So
we all made this list earlier. We said around. Maybe got a little too high.
Well,
making this list.
we did get too high because we only made half the list.
The Weedsman Podcast. Every Friday on iTunes and ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free by clicking through the iTunes banner on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening.
Okay.
Now, per internet protocol, should I take out my cock?
This is Skype, not chat roulette.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
Hello. Welcome again to another Unregimented episode 9? Number 9? No. Yes. 9.
Number
Did it.
9.
Number 9.
This is Aaron.
Yes.
This is Rich.
This is Chris.
So, real quick, what are the numbers so far? Are they looking all right?
It's the most downloaded Unregimented so far. So kudos to you guys.
That's awesome.
And like I was telling Aaron, I'm pretty sure none of my friends I invited to listen to it have listened to it yet because I haven't heard any ball busting about it.
Well, they've liked it on Facebook, at least.
Yeah, that's like the absolute least you can do. It's the 21st century version of like sending.
That's like saying you're going to say a prayer.
Yeah, or
prayers.
sending a text with just the letter K. Hey, did you get my message? K. What? That doesn't respond. An OK is not the required response to that question.
Hey, thank you for listening and liking Christopher Media on Facebook and following us on Twitter at Unregimented Pod to reach this show specifically. If you got any ideas on any topics you want to chime in on anything, or just say, hey, doing a good job. We're getting a lot of positive feedback on it, so I do appreciate it. You can subscribe to any Christopher Media show on iTunes by clicking through the banner on ChristopherMedia.net. If you also happen to hang out, perhaps buy an app, movie, song, something like that, we'll get a little bit of the action. Support Christopher Media by using the PayPal button on ChristopherMedia.net. You can also click through the Amazon banner and bookmark the page. When you buy something, Amazon will kick us back a little money to help keep Christopher Media going. And finally, perhaps you're looking to launch your own website. Maybe you want to start your own podcast. You'll need your own website if you do that. If so, you can click through the HostGator banner on ChristopherMedia.net. That's who we use to host all of the Christopher Media shows, like Unregimented, the Weedman Podcast. That's every Friday. Eminem Question Everything. Those guys, it seems like Sunday that tends to come out. And Toddzilla X, he's looking at, it's going to be Toddzilla Tuesday. When you sign up for HostGator by clicking through the link, you're helping to support ChristopherMedia.net. DraftKings, One Day Fantasy Sports. You're not locked into a team. I donate them $2 on a daily basis. The donating continues. I almost won the other day, but alas, I did not. But the good news is I can draft a new team, so check it out. Click through the banner on ChristopherMedia.net and help us out. Thanks.
Well, there was only one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on if you guys were cool with.
Yeah, what's that?
Did you hear about the shit with Michael Sam and Tony Dungy making the comments about I wouldn't have drafted him because he'd be a distraction? You guys follow football at all?
Yeah, someone was going to say, and at least it was a black guy. I mean, really, like that's probably what's saving him from being like completely crucified.
Well,
it's like black on black crime.
Well, it's just, to me, it's like I kind of draw a parallel between the whole Michael Sam thing and the Tim Tebow thing. You got people who feel really strong on either side. So I figured that might be interesting to talk about because you got the Christ lovers on one side, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the gay rights supporters on the other. And they're both pissed off at each other. It's almost like a little culture war thing going on in the NFL, which is funny.
Get pissed off first.
But,
and of course, the blacks can jump in any time.
Yeah, I don't follow football, but what's the story that I'm missing here?
Okay, well, essentially, Michael Sam is the first openly gay football player.
Yeah.
The NFL Combine is where you try out for scouts and stuff, and he went from being a projected 4th, 5th round pick to he performed so poorly in the Combine that they were like, yeah, he might go undrafted.
Okay.
St. Louis Rams picked him up with their last pick. And of course, ESPN had a camera at his house and like, he got picked and he kissed his boyfriend.
I remember that, yeah.
And then you had like all types of people going, oh, I can't believe he did that. And I'm like, oh my God, really? It's 21st century. Well, now.
If that lady lifted his dog's tail and stick his tongue up his butt. Like, I'm so happy I got drafted.
Oh,
Well, I'm sure the Christ lovers think that's coming next. If gays get married, then you
Because
can
that's the
marry your
next. Yeah,
animals.
that's the next.
I would say that was part of the off-camera celebration, Aaron. Part that wasn't broadcast. The part that happened after.
So anyways, a former coach, Tony Dungy, said he wouldn't have drafted him. And I believe it was a print interview, so you really didn't get to hear the context of what the question was.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's heavily edited, but he said he wouldn't have drafted him because it would have been too much of a distraction. He said not necessarily because he's gay, but the media response to it, because he's already been offered a reality show by Oprah.
Right.
And training camp hasn't even started, and there's no guarantee a 7th round pick is going to make even the practice squad. It's kind of like I was saying, it's kind of like the
He'll
thing-
make it.
Well,
He'll make it. He will make it. I'll bet you $1 he will make it.
No, but do you think he'll make it on his merit, or do you think he'll end up making it for some other reason?
I think
No, he'll make it because he's gay.
for
Someone's got it.
historical reasons. I think for the same reason that if Hillary runs, she'll be president, because people want to be, they want to go on down as part of history. They want to feel like, everyone wanted to vote for Obama the first time around because they wanted to be part of history. Vote for the first black president. The second time around, he lost a bunch of votes because people were just like, I already did that. I already voted for the first black president.
And they didn't want to vote for a Mormon because they didn't want magic underwear in the White House or something.
But no, yeah, I think it's there's definitely the feeling of, I don't know, just being part of something historical like this. I mean,
Yeah, he's got. We need another Jackie Robinson. It's pretty much what he's going to
Well,
be.
I get that, but what irritates me is that I'm pretty much a bleeding heart liberal when it comes to personal liberties. I don't give a shit what you do as long as you don't hurt another person. You know what I'm saying? In fact, if you want to kill yourself, please do.
more power to you.
You know what I'm saying? So
Running out of room and oxygen.
exactly, and we can lighten up the gene pool real easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not a problem in my book.
Yeah, I think suicide is just part of natural selection. But anyway.
Well, Hunter S. Thompson put it best. What was it, 62? It's 50, or what? No, what did he say? His suicide note basically said he only wanted to go to 50 and he was at 60 something. He said, just too many years too long, you're getting greedy. You've done everything at this point.
Yeah.
But what irritates me is that you have the hardcore gay rights activists who are going, oh my God, Tony Dungy can't say that because he's gay. And I'm like, it's the same people that when Tim Tebow was up there doing his praying on the field and John 3:16 and his eye black, and people were like, look, that's a distraction. You're here to play football. You want to be a Christ lover, go do that on your own time. Right now, you need to win football games. We don't give a shit. Because in the NFL, I think that's what ultimately matters is winning. And
certainly better, more so than God.
Yeah. And
comes first.
all the Christians come out and said, oh, you're
You have to thank God when you
persecuting
win.
him. Yeah, the losers' locker room, I doubt there's a whole lot of Christ loving going on. You know what I'm saying? So,
Damn you.
But yeah, and so the Christians come out and we're like, this is an attack on us and our beliefs. And I kind of feel, and as much as I was irritated with those assholes, I'm irritated with the assholes who are coming out going, Tony Dungy's attacking gay people.
He's
no,
not.
he's not. He's saying as a head coach, he doesn't want the fucking distraction in his locker room.
Right.
And he's not even a head coach. He's a fucking analyst. What's everybody getting their panties in a bunch over?
Exactly.
He's not even a coach anymore. He's been a coach for 5 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think he bowed out in 2000. I think 2010 was his last season.
Did he? Yeah, so what the fuck?
But you know
everyone could shut the fuck up.
Would we?
That's where I'm at.
No, like I said, I don't follow sports.
Tony Dungy
much.
stated a fact. That's what's going to come with the first gay player.
Would we still be talking about this guy though if he wasn't gay? Would
No,
he
he would be the irrelevant pick for the St. Louis Rams. A number 7 round draft pick is like, I don't even think you get a guaranteed contract or signing bonus. I think they pay you the league minimum and say just be happy you get that.
Right.
I'm in a part of the country right now where they'll fucking they'll tell you about a 6th round draft pick. They'll suck his dick.
Are you in Patriot country?
Oh, for sure, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Dude, I've been to Patriot fans' houses, dude. That shit is no joke.
Oh no, it's like a
they
religion.
Get newspaper clippings up and shit, and jerseys up, and bobbleheads and fucking shit they got when they were the program they had when they went to Foxborough 15 years ago, and it was this couple and they just recently got married, and I was like, all right, so this is his house and he moved in, right? No, this is her house and he moved in. They're rabid out here, son. I mean, it's
funny because Dennis Leary said, when you get married, don't plan on ever decorating your house. He goes, Wayne Gretzky has 4 MVPs. I've been over to his house. You know where they're at? In the fucking basement and storage. You know what I'm saying? His wife was like, hey, Gretz, do you like those chairs? No, too bad. We just bought fucking 8 of them. Let's go. You know?
Your credit card, great one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't know. It irritates me that we're to the point in society where you can't say anything, and it seems like your words carry more weight than your actions, where I was raised to believe anybody can talk. It's what you do that actually matters.
I don't care if you're Peter Puffer, if you throw a good block.
Exactly.
Fucking just don't be talking. Just don't make that the reason why people are. And he even said that he's there to make the team. He's not there to. They asked him about it, and he said he's there to make the team. He's there to play football. He's not there to talk about all that. So he's got the right attitude.
Yeah, but he also feels like he shouldn't have to hide it.
Oh, exactly.
Right.
And believe me, he's not hiding it.
Yeah, no,
whatsoever.
I mean, and that's fine. But I can understand from a coach's perspective, though, where he's coming from.
Oh, definitely. I mean, because any player who draws away, because football is such a team sport.
Right.
Yes, you can have a good quarterback, you can have a good running back, you can have a good defensive lineman, whatever. But if you all aren't working together as a team, when that weak link is found, it's going to be exploited, and you're fucked. There's just nothing you can do. You have to pull together as a team. And if you got one person causing such a distraction, whether they mean to or not, it's like manslaughter. I didn't mean to kill him, but you still did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm like, these are people who aren't sports fans, and 2, are trying to push an agenda where there is no agenda to be pushed. They really just need to eat a bag of dicks and just be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Let the band play.
It's a type of thing that you can't have both ways. It's like you want this guy to be in the NFL because you want gays to be treated like everybody else. You want a society where it doesn't matter what your sexual preference is; it matters what you can do. But that's not what we're portraying with this. We
keep calling attention to it. You want equality, but you keep separating yourself. Like, stop calling it gay marriage. We've had this conversation on the couch.
Well, yeah, but as soon
call it marriage.
As soon as people who are gay or just backing gay rights in general found out about this, they seem to put him up on a pedestal.
Exactly.
And that's not treating him equally. And to treat him equally, it's the same situation where, like, if this guy could come out and just say, I don't like him. Like, personally, as a person, like, let's just say I met this guy and you know what? I thought he rubbed me the wrong way and I just don't like him as a person. It would be Aaron hates gay people. That's what it would be turned into.
Like, no, I hate this egotistical prick that I met.
Right. Yeah. You can't. Nobody wants to separate it in ways where
we always. It seems lately everybody highlights the difference to scream equality. Whether it's gay, whether it's black, whether it's I don't know. I mean, those are really much the 2 examples we have thrown in our face. Is those are always 2 groups of people screaming for equality that are always highlighting their difference while they're screaming equality. Stop calling attention to your fucking
It's different. It's these same stories of overcoming obstacles, and you're portraying your sexual preference as an obstacle when you put that story out there, instead of just having it be, hey, I'm just like any other person. I just happen to like guys instead of girls.
I think it's that, but I also think that in our society these days, we've been conditioned to walk around looking for shit to get offended about. And once you've decided you want to be offended about something, you will find something to be offended about. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Sure.
And it's like,
I agree with that.
I'm offended every fucking day of my life by shit I see. I don't walk around acting butthurt and red-assed about it and trying to fucking protest and start a Facebook fucking page and like this. And you know what I'm saying? It's life. Shit, you do not have the right to not be offended. That's just all there is to it. You're going to hear shit you don't like, bottom line. And if you don't like it, you know what you do? You leave it the fuck alone. The easiest thing in the world to do if you don't like something is leave it alone.
On some level, I think I can sympathize with the thinking on this. Let's say you're a gay man and you see in your daily life people discriminating against you or people saying things that offend you, and it's just not something that comes up all the time. And when that subject pops up in the media, you immediately want to take that and run with it. And well,
there's a difference between discussing homophobia, you know what I'm saying, and like the context.
What I'm saying though is they're taking their own thoughts and beliefs on it and applying it to just the general conversation. The conversation is about, hey, this guy is a great football player and he just happens to be gay, and now we have to apply all these gay things to him and make him into something else that he isn't, instead of just a football player.
Exactly.
Aaron, you kind of stumbled on something there.
What's that?
They're not making him a football player who happens to be gay. They're leading with gay. It's gay football player everywhere in the media.
Exactly. I would rather be known, like, every gay person I've known, like, growing up, how do I put this? Growing up, I pretty much, in retrospect, I knew who the gay kids were most likely going to be. I was over there playing ball or playing Star Wars or, whatever. And they're over there jumping rope. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they're the ones who are they hung out with the girls or whatever. And not every guy.
I still have a theory.
But
some of those kids have stumbled onto pimping early.
Oh, no, that's true. That's true. Because pimping is not easy, but it is necessary. So
you got to go where the bitches go to get the bitches.
It's the game is there to
That's
be played.
jumping rope.
You either play the game or be played. The game's out there no matter what. Trust me, I know that. But
yeah, you want to meet dudes, go play kickball. You want to meet girls, go play hopscotch.
Well, that's the thing. Another thing, a buddy of mine in high school will come out and he's like, I'm bisexual. And I was like, well, how did you know? And he goes, well, do you remember when we used to play Smear the Queer? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I kind of like when I got dogpiled. I was like, dude, that's not bisexual. That's a rape fantasy. Like, seriously, you need some fucking therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some Shawshank shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's like, no, seriously.
I found out I like guys. Oh, so you want to be with a man? No, I need multiple guys.
I want
just one won't do.
I want to be the ookie cookie in the circle jerk. It's like, and it's just like if I see a chick in a porno who's like, there's 10 guys jerking off in her mouth and she gulps it down and she's like, give me more. I'm like, oh, that poor girl was so abused when she was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta wonder.
Dad is long gone. Dad, she never met Dad.
Uncle with boundary issues? Check. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're born that way, you're born that way, and it's the same thing as if you're born American. People, I'm proud to be America. I'm proud to be American. You're proud of something you can't control.
You just happen to be born here, yeah.
It's like upper middle class white people telling me there's no such thing as luck, as they live in a first world country.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so let's just say Daddy had knocked up your mom in Vietnam. And you were born over there, or in Thailand, and now you got some 40-year-old fat, sweaty businessman huffing and puffing on top of you at 12 years old. Yeah. You really want to tell me about the luck of the draw,
right?
And how you know what I'm saying? Come on, uncontrollable circumstances should not be celebrated. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
Don't tell to them motherfuckers down in where is it? Arizona, where all that shit's going down, where they're meeting the immigrants at the border with the picket signs.
Oh, jeez.
Fucking. Don't tell that to those.
I read a story today or yesterday about they did a poll of voters across the nation and asking them what they thought the biggest problem in America today was.
What you call a seamless segue, by the way.
And it was it came out just, I think, runner up to, it was first the economy in general, and then the ineffectualness of our politicians was second, and third was immigration. 17%.
Why?
17%.
I don't understand this. Like, I lean to the right, and I don't fucking get what everyone's got the bug up their ass about. I mean, that's how we're all here.
It's possible this poll was a little skewed based on demographic. Like, these are obviously issues that affect southern states more. From Michigan, we're not worried about Canadians coming over, just swimming over Lake Michigan.
Those fucking Canucks bringing that fucking ham over, calling it bacon. Get your asses back over there and drink your Miller Triple X.
So, I mean, yeah, this is an issue that affects like Texas and Arizona more than other states, but it's really not an issue. I mean, it's a minor issue. Let's put it that way. As far immigration is essentially flat right now. It's actually down historically from where it's been over the last 2 decades. And yet people are all riled up about it, but it totally follows. It follows
ironic
politics.
Too to see people at these demonstrations dressed up like the fucking original settlers. It's like, bitch, you're dressed like someone from another country.
Right. You're dressed as an immigrant.
Yeah, I saw
you're dressed as an immigrant telling the immigrants to go home. Dumb fucks.
I saw something online quite a few years ago that was it was a quote from like, I don't know, some Native American chief or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because you know how reservations have their own laws to a certain extent. I mean, I believe federal law can supersede it if they choose in certain areas, but
yeah,
that's like Leonard Peltier type stuff. But I don't want to get into that. But you know what I'm getting at.
I think it's kind of like having a long leash and saying you have the whole roam of the yard.
Yeah, basically, don't go outside the yard. You're good. But his quote was, "Next time I see some angry middle class white person screaming about I want my country back, I'm gonna go, yeah, me too, motherfucker." And it's just like,
well, it was in what was it?
No brown people in any of these protests, by the way. All white people.
It's
Nobody looks Native American. Putting that out there.
Anyone darker than a ginger with a sunburn isn't welcome at these fucking rallies. Let's be honest here, man.
Wasn't it Dinesh D'Souza that had the book that was talking about how in actuality, like the land, quote unquote, that we took from certain Native American tribes had already been exchanged hands over and over again by bloodshed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, this tribe would roam this area of land, and then they were run off by another tribe and a more violent tribe. It's something that happens all over the world constantly.
The tribe throughout history.
The more organized or more powerful tribe always takes over the land.
Well, I mean, you got a little domestic terrorism. Here's some blankets with smallpox. Here's whiskey. And by the way, we're bringing guns to a knife fight. So just so you guys know, as you're sick and going through fucking withdrawals, you're going to get shot in the face. All right. So
we've brought you white women.
Where the white women at?
Yeah, this will be what's the word I'm looking for? This will be the new fuck. I don't know. It's a new currency of the future. White women. This will be a status symbol.
Here's what I also think is funny, that because yes, I did live in Arizona and I lived like 5 minutes away from downtown Phoenix, but I didn't live there long enough to really get a feel for the political climate and especially immigrants, how they felt. Now, when I lived in Florida, I can tell you this: Cubans are some of the hardest core right wingers you're ever going to fucking meet. They hate left wingers because of Castro.
Yeah, so that's ironic. That is super ironic.
But that's the thing.
They don't even know how ironic that is.
When I see right wing politicians talking about illegal immigrants, I'm like, you realize you have Cubans and Puerto Ricans. They come here and they wave the fucking flag harder than any America loving fucking redneck I've ever met.
Even Mexicans
are votes. That's how they're winning elections now.
When they poll Mexicans, they tend to find that their views are extremely conservative,
especially because of Catholicism, Catholics.
Yeah. And the only reason that they're not voting with their beliefs is because of most conservative stance on immigration. It's like, I agree with everything that you agree with. I just don't want you here. So they're like, okay, I guess I'm not voting with you.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, to me, we all know politicians pander. That's just all there is to it. There's no two ways around it. Both parties do it.
Yeah. Well, this is the left pandering to immigrants. Obviously, you don't get votes from illegal immigrants, but those illegal immigrants have influence over voters.
Oh, definitely.
And so this is the left pandering to minorities for votes for the upcoming election, and this is the right taking a chance to go, oh, look at how soft he is on immigration, and this is the reason why we have all these problems on the border.
What I find funny is that these politicians in Florida, you have generations that, yes, their grandparents were here illegally, or they were political refugees, whatever you want to call it. But once you're born here, guess what? You're recognized as an American. So they now have one or two generations who are completely Americanized and would be willing to vote for their party, but their party's sitting there going, yeah, we want to kick your grandparents out because how dare they floated over here on a fucking raft looking for a better life.
Right.
What fucking leeches are these fucking people? You know what I'm saying? It's like, really?
God love me, Jesus Christ. I mean, that's one thing I don't really give a fuck that Obama's doing, is offering him that shortcut. Like if it's gonna make it, I was telling Aaron, it's a couple unregimented ago. Bitches, he's creating more taxpayers. The Republicans should love that.
Exactly.
It's creating more Social Security numbers to collect money from every April 15th. Why are you against that, Republicans?
On top of that, we have a city,
assholes.
We have a city like Detroit that's emptying out.
Yeah.
Move them here. Let's get some infrastructure in the city. Let's let them create communities they rebuild in the city. I don't give a shit. I like Mexican food. I'd rather go to a couple different places than Southwest Detroit for authentic Mexican food. Okay, that doesn't bother me. Yeah. I mean, so but it's just never seen that way. It's always, it really is. It's the politics of fear. Fear is what keeps politics going. People are different than you.
Yeah.
Lock your fucking door. Bill Hicks said it. Lock your doors, buy more guns, fucking be afraid of your fucking neighbor, everything, you know? And it's just like, I'm so tired of it.
Coke.
More Coke, more Snickers.
What about Russia? I mean, so this is
50 years later, they're back. Fucking.
They pulled a poltergeist on us.
okay.
I'm here.
First of all, they're not back at all. They're just as ineffectual as they were.
Yeah, this
20 years
This
ago.
isn't their version of Eminem's.
They're like America's
I love the way
herpes.
you lie. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to win a Grammy for this fucking go round.
They're like America's herpes. They go dormant for a while, and every 20 years show up. Hey, how's it going? Just want to remind you we're here.
It's interesting that this seems like the only reason I brought this up is because this has become a major political issue too. This is something where the left and right are splitting over. Directly reflects in the media too. When I was looking for information about the Malaysian airliner that was shot down over Ukraine, there was a U.S. investigation on this to find out what happened. Because, I mean, that was the first thing I said. Why? Why the fuck would somebody in Ukraine shoot down a Malaysian jet plane? And they were figuring either it was just being used as target practice or it was a mistake. They thought it was a Russian or a Ukrainian jet plane, possibly. I think it was just for the fuck of it, or just to let people know that, we're here and we're doing this.
Like they're flexing their nuts type thing.
Right.
They're just like, hey, look what we can do.
Hey, check this out, motherfuckers.
In the U.S. investigation, they found that a lot of people want to blame Russia for this because Russia is supporting these pro-Russian separatists that are in Ukraine. If you're not aware of the politics, it's Ukraine used to be part of Russia, it's not anymore, and there's certain people in there that want to be part of Russia and certain people that don't. So that's what they're fighting over. And so the people who are fighting to be reabsorbed back into Russia are being supplied weapons. These anti-aircraft missiles shoulder-fired missiles that they're sending them. So that's what they used to shoot down this plane. They found that while they did get their supplies from Russia, there is no direct connection between. It wasn't like Russia saying shoot down everything that flies over your state. I read one article in CNN that pretty much gave the facts on what happened. I read an article on Fox News on their website, and the headline was Russia created quote unquote conditions that led towards the shooting down the Malaysian airliner.
That's like saying, oh, you dress that way, so you deserve to get raped. I mean, that's like that kind of fucking.
Well, I mean, Russia was mentioned in the report as in that's where they got their weapons from. But so that's what Fox News latched on to, whereas in the Huffington Post, the headline is no evidence of direct Russian link to Malaysia plane crash. So it's just funny how we have one report that if you read the report, it's pretty straightforward. It's not coded language. It's telling you what's going on and why they think that this plane was shot down. And you have two different news organizations pulling a completely different headline from that. It seems to be lining up to where conservatives think that they want to pose Russia as the new big evil because we're not having much success on the terrorism front.
Well,
no, Bin Laden's dead. We need a new guy with a fucking black hat and a thin mustache.
It's
we
funny,
need a new villain.
It's funny you brought that up because today at work we have a TV and usually it's on sports, and for whatever reason it was on Fox News today.
The owner was there.
One of their, I don't know, blonde talking heads, Megyn Kelly or one of those rambling whores that all look the same, all blonde, and they all work for Fox. I was talking about how the latest thing has come out, a warning from the 9/11 Commission, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't we put that to rest already? But a warning has come out from the people who were on the 9/11 Commission.
Yeah,
we
I
are
read this.
not ready for another attack. And then there was something about white flags on the Brooklyn Bridge, and they're drawing a correlation between the two as if like someone posted white flags on the Brooklyn Bridge. So that means it's a terrorist
attack?
They
were faded American flags.
Is that what it was?
Which is even more, if you think about it, even more fucked up. Faded American flags that look like white flags, and white flags traditionally for surrendering.
Well, I saw
that shit.
I saw the picture of it, and you can't tell. I guess you can only tell when you get up close to it that it used to be an American flag. It looks just stark
Think about
white.
that. Think about what you just said, man.
You know, who knows? This wasn't terrorism though. This seems to be like either somebody's art
Could be a
project, or it could be. I don't think so. This
like the Zodiac killer kind of shit.
this is somebody's political statement.
Well,
to me,
and to me, for Fox to try to just pull this out of the air, and then this thing happening that's not even really breaking news, it's just like a random curiosity. Let's be honest. If it happened anywhere but in New York, it wouldn't even have been on the fucking. It'd have been on.
No, but that's security. That's a fucking major security breach. If you think about it, somebody was able to get to the Brooklyn Bridge, plant all those flags on it, and cover up all the lights.
But motherfuckers have been base
Nobody
jumping
fucking
off
knows
of
that.
buildings in New York for 20, 30 years now. That's not a major security breach. That's a fuck up.
But that didn't take 15 minutes. That took hours to do. Nobody caught that. That's I think the point. That's the point I think Fox is trying to make is like, hey man, like someone was on the Brooklyn Bridge for hours planting all that shit. That could all be bombs. You know what I'm saying? That could have all been bombs and that bitch could be gone. I think that's the point they're trying to make is that's a fuck up. That's a huge ass fuck up.
I understand that, but once again, it's just constant fear. Just be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid of, really? You know when we should have been afraid? How about when we got bombed in 93 at the World Trade Center? Why was nothing done between then and 2001, essentially, to stop bin Laden? And
Because then you have to talk bad about Bill Clinton, and they don't do that in the media.
Oh, fuck. First of all, fuck that. Bill Clinton, he was just
He's
as
complicit
complicit as Bush in letting bin Laden get away with shit.
But he's the savior. In the media, he's fucking Jesus. He's like Jesus Christ. You know, when people talk about him in the media.
Jesus Christ, who can't hit a chick's mouth? I mean, Christ, I've been drunk and high, and I've never missed a chick's mouth. You know what I'm saying? He gets it all over her dress, and this fucking skank keeps this shit like.
He's aiming for the dress.
Well, I mean, if he was aiming for anything on her body, I mean, there was ample amount there, so I guess he hit his target. But
she's like, I just got my makeup done. Don't get it on my face.
But see,
that could have happened.
That's what kills me about all this. Everything cannot just be left and right, black and white. I thought we evolved past the point of thinking like this, and apparently we haven't.
No, hell no. When Idiocracy came out like almost 10 years ago, and when it came out, it didn't seem far-fetched. Each year, every time I see it, that bitch gets more and more realistic to me. We're getting closer and closer. It doesn't seem that far-fetched anymore, especially when they talk about the language part, how we've evolved into like Valley Girl, street slang, and grunts.
It does seem like a completely ridiculous movie the first time through when you watch it, but it keeps coming up over and over again, not just from references from us, because we love that movie, but in different podcasts that I listen to, people reference that as in like, this is the direction we're heading in.
Like Judge is a fucking prophet.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, everything he's done has pretty much been spot on.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley included.
Oh, Silicon Valley was awesome.
The last episode with the equation was just fucking genius, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I gotta check that out. Aaron showed me the one episode, and dude, I laughed my balls off when they were buying the Adderall from that kid.
He smacks that kid. He's like, go back in your house and get some pills.
He's trying to get off a bike, man. That's the funniest shit I ever seen.
That guy was the best part about Transformers 4 too. He was in it and then he died after 20 minutes. I'm like, fuck. Now what do I do?
What was there? Was there a black guy not available for the role?
Well, I don't know. I really do think, and once again, this is just watching TV, picking from pop culture nonsense. Men in Black was on TV the other day, and there was absolutely nothing on. And I've seen this movie 10 million times, and I even saw it in the theater when it first came out. And a line that that never just stuck in my craw like it did until this last time was, well, why don't we tell the people about the aliens? People are smart. He goes, no. A person is smart. People are stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The collective intelligence is failing. It's individual can analyze something pretty well, but you get these divisive issues, though.
That's like the blessing and the curse of the internet, because I think the internet is like leading the charge of the downfall. But I mean, it's the other side of, I guess, the double-edged sword with the internet, I guess, is with the access to all of this information. We're witnessing a decline in general intelligence. Because I remember it was maybe like a year ago reading or hearing about something where the kids are learning differently now. They're not learning the information. They're learning where to get the information. Right? So their brains they're not wired like ours, needless to say.
I think that's just our education system finally showing its holes that it had since the beginning. I mean, we've always driven into heads of memorization as education.
Purge.
And that's just not the way people learn. You show them how to use certain tools, and they will go and find knowledge on their own. That's what that says to me. And I don't know.
Well, I just remember English class being read the book, write the report,
Right.
or take the test. It just you stuff it in, you barf it out in the test,
Yep.
and it's gone.
Yeah.
If you retain anything, whatever. You know,
No,
the
but I
teacher
think
don't
that's
give a
how-
shit.
Right. All
That's
we
how you
care is,
learn.
what are
Read
the
it,
results on
write
the
it.
test from the state so that we can get our funding and we can move you on to the next class.
But I mean, is that really how you learn, or is that how you just juke the stats to keep?
That's not even how you show somebody how to learn.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think we pretty much retained a lot of this stuff. We both learned, Chris and I, and in specs. And some of the most asinine stuff is the stuff I remember. Now, does that mean that we have good memories? Possibly.
Yeah.
But I mean, does that also mean that,
Somehow, some brain cells are left.
Yeah, but
or them as a fucking for-profit school who know that they're priming you to go into an industry that you are most likely going to fail in, but they're still going to get you to the point where you can walk in there and know you sound like you know what you're talking about. Now, of course, you had just people that just didn't give a shit. There was literally chicks in there who had gotten popped with heroin, and they were like, "Go to jail or go to school," and they chose specs. And after like the third day, they're at like La Chambre stripping instead of being at work. You know what I'm saying? Showing up for roll call, and that's it. Don't get me wrong, there were those types in there.
Yeah.
And there were types who really wanted to be in there. But I mean, I can't help it when, like, I talked to my little brother he just turned 23. I mean, his schooling was, I don't want to go to school. And this is in Florida. And they're like, okay, you can just go to school over the internet. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Really?
You can, how do you fail a class? And he's like, I failed a class. How the fuck do you fail a class? When you are going to school with the tool that gives you the answers to everything they're fucking asking you at your fingertips. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, I don't understand how you do that.
You have the ultimate back of the book.
Exactly.
You have Google.
Right. Well, you know what? I remember a test that I had taken in grade school, and my father had seen the results, and I don't remember what it was, but there was one specific thing that I got wrong that showed up multiple times on the test. And he's like, I understand you getting it wrong once, but how did you get it wrong every single time on this test? I didn't understand it then. I was just like, what do you expect? I didn't know the answer. I'm going to provide the same wrong answer. But that's when you create that type of robot where you just feed it information, expect it to spit the information back out, it's going to give you the same wrong answer every time. The problem is I was being fed information and expect to spit it out rather than being shown how to process information and come to a conclusion on my own. In that case, I might have had a better chance of coming up with the correct answer on the second or third time, instead of just spitting out the same wrong answer.
And that's how come I feel like I don't make a good guitar teacher for the kids I've tried to teach guitar to that are in like 11, 12, 13, because they go,
Can't imagine.
I just want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but here's the major scale. Everything's based off the major scale. All the modes are based off the major scale. Blah, 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 blah. Even if you don't understand it, write it down. Look at it. One day you're going to go click and the light's going to go on.
Yeah.
And they just have they're like, I don't care about that.
Right.
I don't care. And I didn't care when I was being shown it at 13, 14, but I damn sure took what they said to heart because these were guys that could play circles around me.
You don't care, but when you start putting all the pieces together, you go, oh gosh, this all clicks now.
Exactly.
There's a method to this that's starting to make sense.
Like, I didn't care that it wasn't fitting, but I did learn to put the pieces where they told me to put them. And eventually when they started clicking together, I was like, I get it now. The light turned on. I'm not stumbling around in the dark. But it just, and I know. Sounds like I'm bitching about the young generation, but they just don't have the attention span for it, man.
Because you're asking them to apply something. You're asking them to put forth effort. Hey, you might have to take this out of context and apply it somewhere else in order to get it. I don't want to do that.
Well, it's like a study I heard on NPR a couple months ago about it was a study overseas. I cannot remember what country. My fact checking is lacking, but they were talking about the differences in diagnosed sociopaths and the age difference, and that how 30 and under there are like 1 in 13 are diagnosed as sociopaths.
That's comforting.
1 in 13?
1 in 13, yes, literally.
That's super duper comforting.
Not necessarily like violent sociopaths, but incapable of empathy.
That's
incapable
8 out of every 100 people. That's neat.
It's like
that's
they
almost
just
10%. It's 8%.
They
roughly.
couldn't understand why I want something, you have it. Why me taking it from you, no matter how it hurts you, is a bad thing. Like, they were incapable of just empathy. Now, I don't know if that's considered, Asperger's.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, Asperger's was the first thing that came to mind because that's just
How about asshole? Have we forgot about this classification?
Maybe you're not
Some people are
autistic.
just
Maybe you're just an
assholes?
asshole. Yeah.
Well, yeah. This is basically, it's a disease of the brain that we don't understand, but that's a major component of it is not being able to empathize. That's a main reason why people who are affected by Asperger's or any form of autism have poor communication skills because they don't know how to read faces and read things out of other people. They don't get the little, things that we pick up on.
The scary part
and sometimes
of this,
they don't even identify faces. They don't. It's not an identifying body part to them. They're just like this person that's always around me.
Well, that
I call mom.
That was the scary part of the study in what I was reading, because it was not just, it wasn't that stuff. It was how they just did not understand and did not care about hurting other people, and to the point where it's like there was no emotion attached to what they were doing. However, they could feign emotion, and they had
that's a sociopath.
They had surface charm. They could be charming.
Scarier.
That is the definition there.
But when you got down to a one-on-one situation with them and you really started questioning them, it was just, they were pure id. It was just, I want what I want, and if you're in my way, fuck you. I'll get you. I'll either charm you out of my way, or I'll get you out of my way.
That's someone who ends up wearing like your fucking skin as a coat, man.
But see,
that's in your personality. That kind of shit.
I honestly think though that is too much of the stereotype, because I think a lot of people like politicians, surgeons, morticians, people like that do have sociopathic tendencies because they have to do the job they do. Generals, people who are sending people to war, people who are training people to kill people, people who are in the CIA who are trained to kill. That's how come I liked the new James Bond they picked a few years ago, Daniel Craig, because he wasn't playing James Bond as, hey ladies, how you doing?
Right.
He was like a fucking sociopath, which is what you would have to be that man.
Exactly.
You just don't give a shit. The end result is get the job done by any means necessary. And that's what was kind of scary to me. And the other thing is that they found that these people who had these traits, I guess they would say they diagnosed 1 in every 13 with the traits, sociopathic traits.
Right.
Okay.
Not calling them out, not analyzing them as sociopathic, but just saying they have these traits.
Yeah, and if you add them all up, gee, we're getting real close to a diagnosis type thing.
Yeah.
Well, another one of the things that they said is that these people have no tolerance for inconvenience. 99 things out of 100 go right, and the one thing goes wrong, and they blow their top, and the whole world has to come to a stop until they get that one thing that they wanted.
I think we have all worked for people like that.
Exactly. I mean, I have friends that are like that, and it's hard to have a friendship with them because it's like, they'll come over and
they're a bummer to be around. I think I dated somebody like that.
This fucking cunt parked in front of your fucking house, and I had to park 2 doors down and walk. Okay, are you an invalid? Did you lose a leg in the Iraq War? No. Walk 2 fucking houses. Not just normal bitching, but like, honest to God, I want to go over there and stomp a mud hole in this chick's ass. And I'm like, she's 60-something with cancer. Calm the fuck down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or they lose it the other way, like it is the end of the world. Like it's one thing goes wrong out of 100 and the world is over and they're depressed and why me and the world hates me. Like they lose it the other way.
I'd rather have a person like that. I'd rather a person takes their misery out on themselves than takes it out on me.
I dated that for 5 years. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm selfish like that.
It's the type of person who their day is based on how the last 10 minutes of their life were. Like, like my day was going great, and then this guy cut me off in traffic, and now if you ask me how my day is, it's fucking awful. What the fuck is wrong with people?
And don't get me wrong, I mean, we all love to bitch and complain. Me more so than probably the average 3 people put together.
I think that's part of
once I do it.
Have we just met?
Once I do it and it's out of my system, I let it go. 5 years ago, I held on to it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. That's the other thing that they were talking about is in this study was that these people, as they grow older, they find less and less people are willing to put up with them, to take the, for lack of a better term, abuse that they're shelling out. Now they find themselves isolated. Now you got someone who has these tendencies.
Yeah. Now we're
and they're
cultivating
isolated.
These tendencies.
Yeah, and now they're isolated, and now they start seeing the world as us versus them, and we start breeding the people that end up doing shit like planting bombs or fucking let me go pick up a truckload of manure and get some diesel fuel and see what I can do with this because I read the Anarchist Cookbook.
Well, how many of these fucking kids have been caught with fucking garage is full of shit or shit all under their beds because and they ran their mouth on the internet and they were planning some crazy shit that never went down. I mean, they're starting to propagate, man.
But Marilyn Manson told them to do that. I mean, this is the type of conversation that we really don't want to have, though, because what it says is, hey, you're raising a sociopath. Stop it. It's your fault. You parent, you who raised a sociopath. This is your fault. You raised this. This is what you created. Not Marilyn Manson, not music or video games or movies. It's you.
Parents don't want to hear that. Parents want to hear that they have the perfect child, and every parent thinks they have a right to be a parent and they should be a parent. And it's like, no, a lot of people shouldn't be parents. A lot of people shouldn't have kids. A lot of people should never get married.
This has come up before.
A lot of guys shouldn't have a dick.
You know, I tried marriage once. I look at like the Jews look at the Holocaust. Never again. I'm done. All right. I am not good at marriage. It's just all there is to it. I'm not a good husband. And that's on me. That is not on my ex-wife.
Right.
Whatever her flaws were, she makes a good wife. The life she's living now proves it. Mm-hmm. The fact that I've stayed relatively single since our split proves that I've learned my lesson. That's what we really need to teach these parents, is that you've raised your kid to this point and you got a little fucking demon on your hands who I just want to fucking kick down a flight of stairs. You know what I'm saying? like, and I mean, it's gotten to the point where if I see kids hurt themselves on the internet, I'm like, I wonder if he was a brat. And if like he's doing something bratty and he hurts himself, I'm like, good for you, you little shit. Maybe you'll learn a lesson. And I'm like, God, that's horrible. But that's how I learned a lesson as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
every time one of those kids lives, I'm like, God damn it, they failed. They're still alive.
I mean, it's simple as this. I mean, when I was a kid, my dad would go get off his motorcycle and go, don't touch the fucking exhaust pipes. And when he started talking through his teeth at me, I knew he meant that shit. Mm-hmm. I'm 6 years old. He gets off the bike. I start walking over. 6 years old. I know what, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like 1.5 and I accidentally brush up against it.
Yeah.
I go over, hand out, and he goes, boy, what did I just tell you? Not to touch it. All right. And he walked in the house, and my mom was looking out the window, and she goes, you know he's going to touch it. And you know, he said, fuck it. Let him burn the shit out of himself. He'll learn his lesson. Oh my God, you're a horrible parent. How could you do that? And you know what? I reached out, I touched it, I burned the shit out of myself. I came in, my mom flipped out, made it 10 times worse. My dad kept calm, bandaged me up, and said, "Did you learn your lesson? Yeah, don't touch a fucking exhaust pipe."
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Sometimes you got to let people fall down.
Well, that is the job of the parent, to construct these things, to put your kids in situations where they can learn for themselves. It's not, you know, a shitty parent is the one who's just not around to tell you not to touch the hot surface. To create situations where you can fail safely as a child. You're not going to die. No, you know, you're not going to be scarred for the rest of your life, but you're going to get some bruises, you're going to get some bumps, and you're going to learn things the way that everybody else has in this world, and not be coddled.
And that's the other thing. I think in this study, one of the things that, like, one of the, I guess, the underlying things they didn't really hit upon, but they touched upon just briefly, was this generation that they're talking about don't know how to fail. Yeah. They think if you fail once, that's it. You're a fucking failure. And it's like, how many billionaires failed before they became billionaires?
No, we took him ice skating and he fell and he bruised himself. So I guess ice skating isn't for him. And so he never hits the ice again. And this guy could have been a great hockey player, but, you know, he bruised himself up pretty bad.
By the way, since you skated for 30 seconds in a fucking in a game, here's your trophy.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, for what?
But he still got his participation trophy. Yeah, that's right.
I got, oh gee, thanks. I got my I was there trophy. It's like a fire watch ribbon in the military. You know what that means? You watched for a fire for at least 1 hour in the night, and you get a fucking ribbon that would go right next to a Purple Heart ribbon. Really? I would refuse that ribbon just based on my manhood. The fact that I have a penis. I'd go, get that fucking ribbon away from me right now. You got some guy who's there with like his arm blown off. He's got the Navy Star with clusters. Yeah, but I got a fire watch ribbon. Oh, well, spread out, private. Didn't realize that fucking we were in, we got Audie Murphy over here who single-handedly fought the Nazis off. All right. That's something that I find fascinating. And it really is. As I get older, I'm like, I feel like I can't comment about this shit to anyone younger than me because it comes off as shut up and get off my lawn. And it's just not the truth.
I'm starting to embrace that. Fuck it. Dude, fuck it. Just go with it, man. Just go with it.
Does it work for you?
Maybe they need to hear it.
Well,
that's my theory.
That is the prevailing wisdom on this, though, is that just learn to deal with it. I mean, what are you going to do? What else are you going to do? I think we're just realizing that we're raising a whole generation of people who have this skewed mentality, and we're just trying to learn how to cope with it. Realizing that these are our future politicians and business leaders.
Well, and this might get edited out, and it probably should, because I'm going to come off as a huge fucking misogynistic asshole. But I kind of think this goes back to my generation specifically. I guess all three of our generations, because we all fall within a few years of each other.
We all would have been in high school together. That's what I count for the age group. If you all would have been in high school together, you're in the same age group.
All right.
The single mom household where you're raised by a woman trying to raise a man who has no idea how to be a man. And it's the same thing as if you have a single father trying to raise his daughter to be a woman. There's certain things you just can't teach as a father. Your daughter's going to need your mother. And
look out! Those are pretty conservative views there, Rich.
Oh, I know.
At least by today's media standards.
I know. And the thing is that then you get into.
I have the same ones.
I don't.
Go ahead.
You don't need your father. I can do the job of both. Well, no, not really. Without going into a lot of backstory, I was kept away from one parent. I was kept away from my father by my mother for a period of time.
Yeah.
I learned to shave. I learned to do all that shit on my own. And I looked like I had just gotten fucking caressed by Freddy Krueger. I was so fucking cut up. I mean, I looked like I went to a Saw movie or something. I mean, and her attitude
I bet you knew
was,
how to have silky smooth legs.
I'm just glad I never started shaving any other part of my body besides my face. Because if my dad would have saw that, he'd have been like, "Come here, boy. I got to beat some manhood back into you. We're gonna set you down for a John Wayne marathon." But no, I mean, it really. I feel like it goes back to that because you get this. My little brother was told by his stepmother all his life, "Oh, you're so special, and everyone loves you, and this and that."
Yeah, that's how they're being raised.
And my little brother grew up thinking everyone felt that way. He used to walk around at 15, 16 talking about, "I don't understand why you're upset. I'm special." And I'm like, "Are you fucking with me? You're special, short bus special. Are you fucking serious right now?"
Special, all right.
I'm like, "Look here, Corky. I don't fucking want to hear about this shit. You know what I'm saying? You're fucking 15. And he's like, "No, but that's what I've been told all my life. Sticking feathers up your ass don't make you a chicken. I don't care what anyone fucking told you. You're no more you're special to the people who love you. Besides that, you're fucking nothing. People don't give a shit."
Yeah.
If maybe if you're lucky, you'll develop friends that you'll keep for life. But most people have people that come and go out their lives.
It seems like kind of a backlash against, like, certain people are raising their children this way to specifically not be like their parents. I think we're of the generation where we were told you're not anything special. I'm not saying that, we were talked down to as a generation, but just if you want to be something, you've got to work at it. If you want to be something special, you've got to work hard at it, and you can be.
Some of that special crap creeped in a little bit when we were little kids because we were part of that first or second, like Dr. Spock child rearing.
Yeah.
Some of that I remember in elementary school was creeping in a little bit, like, maybe like kindergarten, first, second grade, that area. But it's not as rampant as it is today. There wasn't like participation trophies didn't start showing up until like, when I was getting towards middle school. There was still first, second in place, when I was starting in T-ball and all that shit.
Well, I mean, just to give it, I guess I would agree with Chris, and I did because I did get that from my dad. My dad was like, "You're not special. Here's the thing, and he would go through it like I just did with my little brother. 6 years ago. You're special to me because you're my brother, you're my family, I love you. Besides that, the world don't give a shit. The world's a cold, hard place,
right.
And you have to learn that. I cannot send you out into this world thinking that it's all sweetness and light and hard work and perseverance and an education is going to get you through, because the older you get, you're going to learn. You're going to get more jobs through friends than through any fucking schooling you got, most likely. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And my little brother, he's 15 years younger than me. Our dad died, he was 9. And I got this from the family. You have to be the man in his life now. And I'm like, oh, no. You raised him till he was 9 years old, thinking he's some special child of light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm not cleaning up your fucking mess. He's my little brother. If he does something to hurt himself or he goes to do something stupid, I'm going to let him. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to let him hurt himself, but.
Right.
But, it's not my job to call him up and go, I'm going to kick your ass, because you never wanted him raised that way. But now that he's 9 years old, his father's dead, there's no man in his life. He's never learned to fear any type of authority or respect authority. Not necessarily fear it, but respect it. I grew up, all the men in my family are in the military. You don't have to like the men, but you respect the rank. So you don't have to like what I'm saying, but you will respect it because I am your father, or that's your grandfather telling you to do something, or that's your uncle. And my little brother never had that. And so it was, you teach him that. Fuck.
It's too late.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
He's starting to learn it now, because now he has friends and they're like, hey, Max, can I get a ride? Yeah, I don't really have any gas money. Okay, see you later. And he's like, whoa, I got used and tossed out the window like a fucking used rubber here. Right. You know what I'm saying? When I don't have anything to bring to the table, they don't want anything to do with me. Yeah. I'm like, welcome to the real world. You're 23. And it sucks, but it's kind of how it is. And that's how come I couldn't imagine. You said you have an 8-year-old, right? It's your oldest?
No, my daughter's 8. My son's 11.
Oh, I couldn't imagine doing it right now. I really, because I would be the person they'd call CPS on, not because of anything I did, but because I would be in there going off like Bernie Mac every fucking day about people's children. Punch them and they sleep. Beat them to the white meat shows. You know, and they're like, you can't say that. Oh, come on, you know what I meant. But really, yeah, it's like, jerk a knot in their ass, toughen them up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But people, you can't do that. I mean,
my son's not tough by any means, but
not tough physically.
Yeah, no, but he's not a tough kid physically, and I wouldn't say mentally either. But
he's 11.
Yeah, but
if you were raising Rambo at 11, I'd be kind of worried because I've only met you twice, but you don't seem like the raising Rambo type. You know what I'm saying? You don't seem like Colonel Troutman. You know what I'm saying?
She's in the backyard running the military obstacle course. They do drills in the middle of the night, shooting off flares in the middle of the bedroom.
Right, but he doesn't have this sense of entitlement that we seem to be raising the next generation with. So I'm thankful for that. And he definitely has a sense of accomplishment in that, he's only going to accomplish as much as what he puts into it. So the things that he's passionate about science, stuff like that, he wants to win the science fair. He got third place one year. This year was second place. So next year he's shooting for first.
Yeah, next year he's like, right? I got him next year. I got him.
Right. Yeah, he's slowly moving his way up and he's seeing the progress, and it's not
drive.
And it wasn't
drive.
And it wasn't that participation,
thanks for
trophy
showing up, ribbon.
That drove him. It was
he wants to be the best at something.
It was getting third place. It was like, I placed, but I'm the worst of the people who placed. Exactly. So that doesn't fly. I need to be better than that. And that's great.
You're the last place loser, buddy.
But see, that's a mental and emotional toughness that I don't know if you can really instill in kids as much as show it to them and they have to pick it up.
Yes,
from
that's what I was going to say. That's how you instill it. It's just by being that.
Yeah, you can't beat it into them. You can't yell it into them. You can't time out it into them.
And that's why I think a lot of people don't understand when they say like a single mother can raise a child just as well as a mother and father team. And yeah, if need be, that can happen. But I think most of the ways that the father influences the kids just by what he does, just by setting the example. It's not like my dad sat me down on his knee and said, here's a heart to heart, here's what you got to do in life and follow these things and stay on this true path or whatever. It was just what he did. Just through his actions, I saw, how a person supports his family and takes care of people around him.
And see, that's the flip side of it is me not spending a lot of time with my dad until I was like a teenager. I saw the revolving door of friends of my mom's come and go. And when you see that and you don't have a father figure in your life, you're always trying to latch on to one. And these guys are like, I'm not here for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact,
passing through, kid.
In fact, your mom said you were going to be at your grandma's. What are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, there goes fucking her on the wash cycle. You know what I'm saying? On the washing machine during the spin cycle. It's like, I got the brat here now. Shit.
While you're up, where's the beer?
No, my mom dated classy men. It was Jack Daniels.
Oh.
No, I understand, and I kind of feel that with my little brother. And one thing I will say is my little brother took away from life kind of what I took away from life. He's like, I really didn't have the blueprint to be an excellent parent. And I think I'd rather someone go start life with that attitude than to have some 16-year-old going, I'm going to be a great mama. I'm going to have me a bunch of little miracles. And it's like, really? How much are those miracles going to cost the taxpayers? You know what I'm saying? How much of those miracles, are we going to see like on fucking, I don't know, Maury Povich
right
in
into
13 years? Yeah. It's like, and who would want to do that to a kid?
Never leave it. You looked around lately?
Oh,
you know what
me.
What city we live
in? That's nothing. It's a little bit scary. It's how as hard as it is, people say, to get into the system once you're in there and the system has got you as a gear in there.
Yeah.
They don't want to let you go because they depend on you for their fucking job.
Yeah.
As much as they talk down to you and go, oh, my fucking, look at these fucking welfare queens. Well, if it weren't for those welfare queens, guess what? No one at fucking Department of Human Services would have a job.
Right.
We wouldn't need you.
There's a whole arm of the government to taking care of these people, and you work for them.
Yes. So you're part of the problem. Why don't you go work for the DMV and just be just a sadist that you really are and make us all miserable like you want to? Speaking of, have either of you guys, God, this is not a high point in my life. I actually applied for some state aid one time. Have either of you guys ever done this?
Yeah.
I investigated it once, and I was too honest on my application about the other person that lived with me and our incomes, and they said no.
I'm actually currently receiving, well, essentially it's food stamps.
Oh, you get a bridge card.
Yeah, I got a bridge card. That's I don't know. Is that just a Michigan thing, or is that?
Yeah, it's called different cards in different states. We have the bridge, so they call it the bridge card.
Yeah, and I'm at near the end of my unemployment benefits at the moment.
Okay, unemployment. I don't
that's
really
a little
consider
different.
state aid.
That's a little different because this is a system that you pay into.
Yes.
You know, I worked how many years? 15, 18 years without any lapse in my employment anywhere. You know, so I paid into the system enough. And the bridge card is really just to get me by until I solidify my next venture, which, you know, this is all part of right here. I'm
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yes, I am part of the system right now, but with the idea of I'm using the system as it was originally intended, is when you fall back, here's a safety net so that you can get yourself back on your feet properly and not just take the next shitty job that comes at you.
And as much as this is a cliche, here's a hand up, not a handout.
Right.
This isn't a lifestyle.
Yeah.
This is to get you, back on your feet.
Exactly.
And then once you're back on your feet, you don't need us.
So anyway, yeah, to answer your question, yes and no. Yes for me, no for him.
Well, see, it was weird because I applied because I'd lost my job.
I just got denied.
Yeah.
I applied, I'd lost my job, and my utilities were like, guess what, asshole? You better enjoy cold water and no electricity. And I was like, oh, shit, what do I do? And my buddy goes, hardcore right-winger, yet works for a company where he's in a union that he couldn't live as comfortably as he does if it wasn't for the union.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so how do you sleep at night? But anyways, that's a subject for another show.
Yeah.
But he goes, apply for state aid. I said, you fucking say, you of all people are telling me to do this? He goes, man, fuck that. How old are you? I said, well, at this point, I was 35. And he goes, have you ever applied for unemployment? Nope. Disability? Nope. Food stamps? Fuck no. He's like, go. So I went to the website and they said, what's your situation? And I took a little questionnaire and it was, you can apply for everything. And I only got approved for the state emergency relief.
Two boxes broke as hell. That's your check.
Here's the funny part, and hold on a sec. If we had a camera on this podcast, this would make this even better. I got in the mail a bridge card that had nothing on it because they turned me down. And I said, how much in bureaucratic bullshit did this cost them to send to me?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I know, right?
They process those and send
it.
them out before they actually approve you.
I mean, dude, if you can look, it's never really been used. It's just been sitting in my wallet. Like, and every once in a while when I'm really poor and I'm at Kroger, I'm like, please, God, or deity of your choosing, swipe. There's nothing on here. Get the fuck away from me. Fuck. Let me go put my 99-cent hot dogs back. I guess it's ramen noodles again tonight.
The grocery store police show up, ask you to leave.
But yeah, that's something that I'm hearing more and more about, like entitlement programs.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. I don't feel that shit like that is an entitlement program because
it's only an entitlement program because you set up these systems that allow people to work the system.
to become dependent upon it.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest welfare fucking queens are the military, and I come from a military family. I support the military. I don't support what we do with our military. Farmers. Well,
Well, anyway, not to sidetrack you. But
well, I mean, they're up there. They're up there,
yeah.
honestly. And it's like, why do we put all this money into this military? And people go, well, to protect us. From fucking who?
Yeah.
Our military is larger than the next, 3 or 4 combined?
Yeah.
And that's including
And the
North
one time
Korea?
we needed you to protect us, you fucking failed.
Well, it's about jobs too. I mean, you when you say, "Oh, we need to decrease production of these tanks or these planes," it seems logical on paper. But then you go, "Well, that means that you're taking all these people out of a job in this factory," and then you've got their representatives standing up and saying, "No fucking way, are you taking this factory out of my district?"
Exactly. I have a buddy who worked as a tank mechanic in the Army for 6 years. Spent 3 of those in Germany. Came back, worked the shittiest minimum wage, any jobs he could, as he was on the short list to get into the private sector as a tank mechanic.
Yeah.
Now he is. Now he's union. Now he makes ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah.
And I literally have received texts from him. This is why I won't name him. He's in a tank tour sleeping, and he takes, or like pretending to sleep, and he takes a selfie, and he's like, working hard. What about you? And I'm like, asshole, you probably just made like $15 to take that and type that out and send that to me. I'm like, what are you doing where you're just chilling in a turret like that? that. He's like, oh, well, because I'm in the union, I can only do this job. I'm waiting for another union person to come and do this job so I can finish my job. And I'm going, as much as I support some unions, God damn, it's really hard to be real left wing in some of this shit. Because it's like, that's such a bullshit thing. We're propping up these people with stuff like that.
The union issue has come up before, yeah.
I'll go to meetings from time to time at the one of the casinos in downtown Detroit. But we're not allowed when we're done, or even when we go out to things in Vegas. Like when we're at the casinos, we are not allowed to help clear the tables. We're not allowed to clean up after ourselves. And those are union people that come in and clear off the tables. We're not allowed to pick up after ourselves. We just have to like finish eating meetings over and get up, leave.
They specifically had to tell you this?
Yeah.
Like it would be an issue if you bust your own table?
Yes, because the union, they have to come in and clear out all those tables. There's like a union at that casino. There's a union in Vegas. It's fucked up.
See, I had a look, and I'll name names because the company isn't, the company's there, but part of the company I work for isn't there. I used to work for Sylvania, and we relamped like the Chrysler Tech Center, GM Tech Center.
Oh, okay.
You had to be in Local 58, Electricians Union.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're union shops. Just changing ballast and relamping a tech center, sometimes, on scaffolding that's 4 stories up, you drop a fluorescent. What happens when it hits the ground? Well, me not knowing, okay, climb down off the scaffolding, start cleaning it up. What are you doing? The fuck you mean? What am I doing? I'm cleaning up the mess I made.
Yeah.
No. You can't do that. That's not part of your job. We actually have people here who are in maintenance who have their own union, and that's their job. You're taking their job from them.
Ah.
So that's...
They took their job!
There you go.
So yeah, I guess that's where that would come in as far as what Chris was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's asinine. It's like, really, I can't bust my own table. Like, I mean, how much honestly is the guy cleaning up behind me? Is he really making in that union? I mean, Myers has a union. What do their unions do for them?
This is why it's come up.
Yeah, go ahead, asshole, doing my job for me. I'm just gonna go have another fucking cigarette while you clear off at the tables for like you think they'd have that attitude? Like, go ahead, knock yourself out. Just making my job easier.
Yeah.
They can have that attitude. It's not like they can get fired. There's people on fucking the news smoking joints, drinking 40s on their breaks from work. Never got fired.
Oh, some of these
still have their jobs to this day.
Some
Chrysler.
People I know in the auto workers unions, they get away with murder. I mean, we're talking double digits visits to rehab, drunk on the job, dropping dirty left and right.
Yeah.
And they just get chance after chance because they go in, they plead to their steward, their union steward, or they're in good with them. Hey, man, this guy deserves another chance. And I mean, I'm all for second, third chances, but at a certain point,
at chance 25, we got to call it. We got to make a decision.
Yeah, but
you're on a self-destructive path that only you're going to get yourself off of, no matter what help you get.
Yeah, you're able to continually abuse yourself because you see this safety net that's there that'll catch you and keep you from failing completely. Well, I can snort some more. It's not like I'm going to lose my job.
And see, and my grandfather was like that. My grandfather was a tool and die guy for Ford, and this is back in the day. He'd go out for lunch, come back, damn near blackout drunk, go crawl in the stall, fall asleep on the toilet. They wake him up. Hey, Jim, we need you to work on this machine. He'd come out, fix it, go back in the stall, let him sleep it off. As long as he can do his job, we don't give a shit. And I'm just
I worked a week in a factory when I was 19. That's how I knew manual labor wasn't for me. But there were guys on that line, water bottles full of vodka.
Oh yeah,
straight. Like just getting hammered, and then going out and fucking smoking a joint when they're, instead of a cigarette, coming back in, pounding more vodka. It's like, yeah, not for me, and it's probably rampant. This was like a little powder coat shop, that closed fucking 15 years ago. I'm sure in bigger plants it's even more rampant.
Well, the first actual job I got after I left Specs was at a place called TriStar that did pipe threading for manufacturing jobs, like any warehouses and the big 3 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All the pipe fitters were union. We were the only scab shop to supply these pipe fitters. Every other shop was union. We ran 2 threaders wide open at all times. No, you're supposed to have your little foot on the safety thing to start it up. You take your foot off, it stops. Nope, we didn't have one of those. We ran 2 threaders, and we would thread pipe from anywhere from 6 inches to 25 feet, from an inch in diameter to 2.5 inches in diameter, and run them full on 12 hours a day.
They'd just be always
6
on,
days
ready
a week.
to go.
6 days a week. And at the end of the month, you worked 13 days straight, a 7-day week. And then your next week started, you worked another 6 days. The amount of drug abuse, speed, everybody smoked weed. Everybody smoked. I don't know how you could have done that
because you have to balance out the speed.
Exactly. Seriously.
Yeah. Levels out.
Yeah. Like people would come in and were just popping ephedrine. I'm like, you realize motherfuckers drop dead from that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what kills truckers. And they're just, we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm going, that's why I look at that, and that's the really bad side of the non-union coin. And I know that's an extreme side, but it is a side.
Yeah.
That's a scab shop for you. And I've worked at enough of them to tell you that. I've also worked at union shops where I walked in my first week. They're like, how many pieces did you produce? You can't fucking do that. I'm like, were they
overproducing?
Were they not enough? And they're like, no, you need to fall in between this and this, or else you make us all look bad. And I'm like, I felt I was going to get taken out back and beat down like I'm the new kid or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me teach you something, brat. I mean, you don't fucking come in here and know all the answers. You make us look bad. And it was like, holy shit. So once again, now everything's not black, not white, at least in my world. And I have a hard time dealing with people who...
we've talked about unions before on this show, and I don't know that we came down on a solid opinion on this, either one of us, because it's something where you can see the definite benefits in the history of the American worker. There's been major benefits that you can tie to unions, as far as safer conditions, more regular hours, better pay, but it seems to have gotten out of control. It's like something that nobody can control anymore. They're just these massive entities that are on their own track.
And it just, as long as they can collect dues.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're a right to work state. And this came from people who are working within the big three or other such large auto union places. They were told this: oh, you can opt out of your union dues and we'll still represent you.
Yeah.
But don't think we're going to represent you as hard as the guy who pays his union dues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't paid union dues in 2 years and then all of a sudden you catch a beef and you come in here and it's like, I'm sorry, when's the last time you paid dues? Yeah, good luck. You're on your own. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's kind of almost a self-policing thing. Hey, you don't have to be part of it.
Yeah. But
if you want our protection, you better be. And to me,
that's called extortion.
That is called straight up some gangster shit, man. That is like three guys in suits going around the neighborhood. Like, it'd be a shame if someone threw a brick through your window. We're here to stop that.
That's what I'm saying. That is called extortion.
But at the same time,
federal court of law.
Can you blame a union for going, why the fuck should I go to work, fight for as hard as this guy who's shitting all over what we're trying to fight for? Who's going, I don't give a fuck. I'm not paying dues, but I want your protection. There has to be a balance. There has to be a way to work it out. That is what we don't have anymore. It's we either go all in or we get rid of this shit. It's either MSNBC or it's Fox News.
Right.
Where's the middle ground? You know what I'm saying? It seems like there is none anymore. And one of the scariest things I find now is that people say, do you have an opinion about this? And if you go, no, you're ostracized. You're looked at like you just fucking, walked in spanking it into a Disney movie. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh my God, look at this fucking freak. You don't have an opinion about this? No, I don't know enough about either side to have formed an intelligent opinion. Why would I form an opinion until I have enough facts to form an opinion? Why am I the asshole for that? That's like if I use a word that you don't understand. Since you're using these big words and I don't understand them, I'm going to take it as disrespect. You know what I'm saying? But it's just something that irks me, man. It really is. Guys, I don't know about you, but I don't really see anything to take care of this in sight. It just seems like it's going to get worse and worse.
It's just going to keep spiraling out of control until it just becomes they can't support themselves anymore. I mean,
not only that, just the general mood of people in like people. Well, I'm not living in fucking, like, I have friends who grew up in Westland, Livonia, suburbs. The suburbs as we knew them when we were kids.
Right.
Now they're like, fuck that. That's the hood. Detroit and Inkster. Detroit and Inkster's emptied out in the Westland. At first I was like, whatever. You just scared of, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. You just buying, drinking the Kool-Aid a little too much. Then for the last 6 years, Westland has had fireworks for 40 years. Last 6 years, there's been multiple shootings and killings.
Yeah.
Every one of these fireworks to the point where we didn't have them for the first time in 40 years this year.
Really?
And I was like, oh shit, maybe the hood is emptying out. And now you got people running even farther into the, like Fowlerville isn't far enough for them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They want to go past there.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll drive an hour and a half to go work at Detroit Diesel or a Ford plant downriver. They don't give a shit. And it's just like, to me, that's the opposite of what we need to be doing.
Recently, when my car failed on me, I was on my way out to the Rifle River, and car broke down, and I had to walk like 10 miles through it's out in BFE, out in the country. And the closest, there was a mire like 10 miles away, and I'm like, okay, I'll walk over there. I walked through farmlands with like nothing on them, and then all of a sudden, boom, here's this whole group of McMansions right out in the middle of fucking nowhere. All of a sudden, there's this nice big drive or private entrance into all these condos and all these big houses and stuff, and then boom,
Walmarts.
and then nothing again. I mean, that's what's happening. They're going way out there. My parents live in a fairly decent house with a nice plot of land, but it's an hour and 45 minutes away. But my dad would rather commute from his job. I think it's about maybe an hour, but he takes an hour commute just so that he can live out there instead of anywhere near a city or in the suburbs anymore.
And see, then you have people like me who are 37. Well, I'm actually looking at possibly either doing a land contract, rent to own, or just renting a house around the 7 Mile and Southfield area because, one, it's cheaper than where I live.
Yeah.
Two, it's more centrally located to where most likely I'm going to end up working. Three, as counterintuitive as this sounds, even though it's Detroit, you don't have the problems that you have in my neighborhood. My neighborhood, it's such a weird mixture of everybody. Like, there's one guy,
ghetto pass and some street cred living there too.
Well, I already lived in Brightmoor and Southwest, so I think I've already got
you got the triple platinum ghetto pass.
Yeah, I got the trifecta of suck for living in Detroit.
And for those out of state that aren't familiar or listening, that's 7 Mile, just a mile north of 8 or south of 8 Mile, which is it's the border of Detroit. So that's within Detroit city limits.
What Eminem made famous, essentially. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a good neighborhood. It's a neighborhood like I grew up in. Everybody knows everybody. My buddy would live 2 doors down from me with his wife. Their next door neighbor is Mr. Washington and his family. The ice cream truck goes through the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, kids play in the street, and it's not, of course you have a little bit of nonsense, but you're going to get that anywhere you have people that packed in towards with each other. But where I live now, it's like, my landscaper went on vacation. I don't own a lawnmower. I've lived in apartments all my life. It's my first house.
Yeah.
My landscaper went on vacation for a week and a half. My lawn didn't get mowed. My neighbors called the city and said, his lawn is a nuisance. We want you to come out and cut it and or fine him.
Right.
And I'm like, you couldn't, and I live in a duplex. You couldn't open your door, walk 2 feet over to my door, go, excuse me, could you cut your fucking lawn? Would you like to borrow our lawnmower? You really? At least if I live in this neighborhood in Detroit, I've lived with my buddy and his wife in that house. If there's a problem, one, they don't call the cops. They handle it. I like that. I know it's kind of old school vigilante, justice type thing, but we're not calling the cops because they're not coming.
Right.
It's going to be 2 hours before they get here if they show up. Two, if they have an issue, they go handle it themselves. Like, apparently there was an issue with someone who actually lived in a neighborhood doing like 70 down that street, which is a 25 mile per hour street.
Yeah. Where there's probably kids playing and shit, there's families living on it.
I got kids. What are you doing? Fuckhead.
Exactly. Someone had to talk with the gentleman. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't do that now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd rather live in a neighborhood like that. That's
and he
just
fell.
me.
That's what he says when he's asked. He fell.
But I mean, and the other thing is, there's empty houses on this neighborhood. When I say this neighborhood, I'm talking like a 4-block east, west, north, south sample size. But they're taken care of. There's not nonsense going on in there. You know what I'm saying? And if there is,
they're self-policing.
They take care of it. Yeah. Whereas we had a house set empty, and this is in Westland, which, I mean, I know everyone's like, oh, and for anyone who's not from the Southeast Michigan area, its nickname is Wasteland.
Yeah.
But that's because there was nothing to do years ago. Now it's like you get squatters in there, and it turns into squatters' rights. And you're like, seriously? I'm looking at people, my neighbors getting evicted because they're 2 months behind on their rent, and these squatters are taking the owners of this house to court.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was I read a story this morning about this company that's trying to buy up a whole bunch of property in Detroit, and they're about to inherit all these properties. 1,000 of the 8,000 properties they have squatters in them, and they were talking about they don't do anything. Like, the cops will come and then they won't do any, like what the fucking the example they used. I'm sure it's an extraneous example, but the bitch drove up in a BMW, had a Lexus and a Saab that they towed that were parked illegally, and is talking about, I can't pay my $17,000 in back taxes. I bet you could. I bet you if you sold that BMW and that Lexus, you fucking could.
Yeah, something doesn't add up there, though.
Yeah, and she's able to. And she's able to stay.
Hot.
and she's able to stay there.
Little
So they
midnight
get even more on the
requisition.
black market.
Well, and see, I know that I've gotten that look. Because I'm very much working poor. And people will go, oh, what do you got there? It's a Samsung exhibit. Oh, but you can afford a smartphone. You know how I got this smartphone? A buddy of mine gave it to me.
Yeah.
He was like, I just got the new super duper bigger screen, so when I jerk off to porn at work, I can really get a good look at it. Here, you're on a Dino phone that slides open, and it's 2014. Happy birthday, have a use, And I was like, happy to have it. To this day, I'm like, I'm glad to have it. My car is not a new car. My car is 12 years old. I just hit 80,000 miles on it. It's an old person grandma car. I'm happy to have it, though.
I'm happy to have mine's got over 250,000 miles on it. And I'm going to replace the radiator in it because it's still running fine.
But I mean, that's like, I don't have a lot, but that's the thing. I don't require a lot. So I do kind of get irritated when I see people who are like, oh man, I need help with this. I need help with that. And I'm like, and you just dripping in ice and you got, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know the difference between a pair of Oakleys and a pair of Folkleys. You know what I'm saying? And I've lived in the hood long enough. I know fake and I know real. That shit's real, coach. That shit's real, this and that. Don't be crying poverty and that's what you're walking around in. You want some poverty, come to my house for some mayonnaise sandwiches, And
The ramen noodle chaser.
Yeah, and I don't have cable, but I do have a bootleg Netflix login, so we can watch some like Orange is the New Black while we enjoy our mayonnaise sandwiches. That's horrible. I shouldn't admit that.
Nothing wrong with it. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I know my buddy at home's probably going, Miracle Whip, man. It's a little bit more tangy. You get more bang for your buck.
Hey, thank you for listening and liking Christopher Media. Thank you for sharing it on Facebook and following us on Twitter at Unregimented Pod. You can reach us, this show specifically. A lot of people are liking this show. It's gaining momentum, and thank you. We appreciate that. So please help us spread the word. If you like it too, please tell a friend, tell somebody, tell everybody. Please and thank you. You can subscribe to any Christopher Media show on iTunes by clicking through the banner on ChristopherMedia.net. If you happen to, by chance, I don't know, a lot of people are buying movies now. I buy a shit ton of music on iTunes. Apps that, I should probably have my own little tile in an Apple store, a little plaque to commemorate all the apps that I've bought. But if you do anything like that on iTunes after you click through that banner, they'll kick us back a little something, and it doesn't cost you anything extra to do any of these things. All it does is it takes the time to go to our site, click through the link, you bookmark whichever one, whether it's Amazon, whether it's DraftKings, whether it's iTunes, you bookmark it, and that way, it's helping to support us, and it's not costing you anything more. You can also support by donating using the PayPal button on ChristopherMedia.net. And like I was saying before, Amazon, you know what? You love it. I use it all the damn time. I wish I would have known about this. I made a rather recent, significant purchase on Amazon lately, and I gave the piece to somebody else. I could have gave it to myself. There could be rules against that. I'm not sure. You buy something, Amazon gives us a little bit. Someone bought something the other day. It's nice. DraftKings One Day Fantasy Sports. You're not stuck with a team. They got right now. It's baseball season. I'm in 2 fantasy baseball leagues, but it's you do the draft, and by the end of each league, even when it comes on football too, you maybe have like 2 or 3 players you started the season with. DraftKings, no, you just start over every day. I currently am on the $2 donation schedule with them, $2 a day. They get it, but it's fun. I like it, and it's getting close. I was on the bubble the other day, almost won some cash, but oh well, I did not. But it's fun. DraftKings, please click through on ChristopherMedia.net. And perhaps, maybe, you're listening, you're thinking, hey, that sounds easy. I could do my own podcast. Well, if you're going to do that podcast, you're going to need a website. And if you were going to launch your own website, please click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net. That's who we use to host all of the Christopher Media shows, like Unregimented, the Weedsman podcast. Catch that every Friday. M&M Question Everything. That comes out on Sundays. And Toddzilla Tuesdays, the Toddzilla X-Pod. Looks like that's going to be coming out on Tuesdays. So when you sign up for HostGator by clicking through our link, you are helping to support ChristopherMedia.net. Please and thank you. We appreciate the support. Hey, thanks for listening. We got to go. We've yammered on enough.
Yeah,
that's a variety of things.
Absolutely.
My mouth's a little dry, so yes, we need to rehydrate.
Yeah. Sure, there's nobody we have not offended, which, hey, if you're listening, good for you. It's a fucking choice. You could have shut it off a long time ago.
It lets you know, if you're offended, it lets you know you're alive. So
yes, you're not a robot. Good news. Monday and Wednesday on iTunes and ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting Christopher